Welcome back in, Vaughan the Ball. I am Stephen Vaughn, and I'm here to bring you what I learned in week 2 in the college football season. Number one thing I want to talk about, the Oregon Ducks and their domination of Oklahoma State. Now, we knew going into the game it was going to be just a massacre, and it was. And after the game, Dan Lanning talked about how the Mike Gundy comments throughout the week about the money that Oregon has and Oklahoma State doesn't have. It was a little bit of motivation. I don't necessarily think it was a lot of motivation, though, because Oregon's just a better team than Oklahoma State. We knew that going into the game. So this is what I expected. Maybe not this large of a win, but I expected a big win. I expected an Oregon win and cover, and that's exactly what they did. But the big takeaway for me in this game was Dante Moore, the quarterback for Oregon. All offseason, we've heard, well, maybe this guy's a dark horse Heisman candidate. This guy has, there were people that said he has the best arm they've ever seen in college football history. Like, I'm not joking. That's what they said. And it remains to be seen if he is that. But with throws like this that he makes, this guy has the arm strength. He has the arm accuracy. He has one of the most lively arms in college football. And he proved it with that NFL throw. That's an NFL caliber throw right there. And so I still want to see Dante Moore against these top teams because that's what I'm judging Oregon on. Not against Oklahoma State, not this week against Northwestern. It's going to be the game at Penn State. It's going to be in the Big Ten title game if Oregon makes it there. It's going to be in the college football playoff. I am judging Oregon on that. So I need to see Dante Moore make these type of throws or really good throws against really good teams, not against Oklahoma State. But I will say, he has answered some questions because there were questions, and even I had questions of, is the UCLA thing real? Like, as a true freshman, he didn't look great at UCLA, and I think it's known right now it was more of a UCLA thing than a Dante Moore thing. So going forward, you have to feel good if you're Oregon, if you're an Oregon fan, that Dante Moore is your guy. We're still not going to learn much, I don't think, at Northwestern, but it's that game at Penn State. That's where we're going to learn a lot about Dante Moore, but we learned that the Oregon Ducks, they reload. They don't rebuild. So looking forward to see what Dante Moore and the Ducks do in the upcoming weeks. Second thing I want to talk about week 2 in the college football season is Oregon State and their loss 36-27 to Fresno State. The big thing coming out of the game was Trent Bray's halftime interview where he cusses to Nigel Burton talking about the special teams of Oregon State, which by this play, I would cuss at them too. Now, he wasn't wrong. That's the thing. First of all, Trent Bray was not wrong with what he said. The special teams were horrible in the first half, and I would be frustrated as well. But as the head coach and face of the program, you have to hold that back. You have to keep those thoughts forward and stay positive, especially for a team that has struggled. So Oregon State, going into halftime, Trent Bray's out of his mind. He's getting mad. Understandable. Second half, they came out fine. They were fine. They were right in the game. And it's just undisciplined mistakes again for the second week in a row. 6 pre-snap penalties. The team just looked out of sorts. Oregon State actually outgained Fresno State 544 to 320 yards. When you outgain your opponent by over 200 yards, you should win the football game. And so I think for me, that is some on coaching. And I think Trent Bray has to be questioned on some of these coaching mistakes that he's made. I thought Malik Murphy played much better. I thought he was really good in the game. He had the miscommunication at the end on the pick 6, but again, throughout the game, he carried Oregon State. Him and Hankerson, they were carrying the Beavs, and they should have won this ball game. I like Trent Bray. I think he can be a good coach in time. The question would be, is he going to get that time at Oregon State? Right now, I don't think he's ready to be a head coach. And I thought that when he got hired at Oregon State, I thought, man, this seems a little early to give this guy the head coaching gig, but you were in such a bad spot, you kind of had to. Well, now I think it's kind of rearing its ugly head of that he's just not quite ready for that job. I think he's a really good defensive coordinator, and I think in time he'd be a really good head coach. I just don't know if it's going to be at Oregon State. And I think right now with Oregon State losing this game, they're 0-2. They're going to lose to Texas Tech. They're going to be about 30-point, close to 30-point underdogs in that game. I think it's 27.5 right now. When you go on the road to Oregon, I mean, you're going to be, 35? A 35-point dog against the Oregon Ducks with the way that they're rolling. Those are 2 more losses. You're then home to Houston. That doesn't look like an easy win at all. And then even at, Wake Forest, App State, like those games aren't all just, chalk them down as wins anymore with the way Oregon State has played. This could be an 0-5 and 0-6 start to the season for the Beavs. And at that point, you do have to question Trent Bray. I don't want to question him. I like the guy. I think he's a really good coach on the defensive side. But as a head coach, he's not ready. Will he get his time at Oregon State to figure it out? I don't know that he necessarily deserves that. All right, the third thing I want to talk about is Arizona State's loss to Mississippi State 24-20 down in Starkville. Now, I thought Mississippi State would get this win, and the way it started out, 17-0, I thought it was an easy cruise to victory there. You got to give Arizona State a lot of credit. They got up 20-17 late in the fourth quarter. And shockingly, it wasn't because of Sam Levitt. Sam Levitt was really bad in the game, 10 for 22, 82 yards, one touchdown, two interceptions. It was the run game. Brown and Udo both over 100 yards rushing. That pass game was non-existent, and it was plays like this that Sam Levitt had that make you scratch your head and think, man, what is he thinking out there? Now, is it Levitt? Is it the receivers not getting open because Jordan Tyson had 6 of the 10 catches? Last season, Cam Scadaboo, awesome on the ground, but he was also great in the pass game as well. He had 45 catches. He was second on the Arizona State team in receptions, and I think right now the Sun Devils are really missing him. Even though the run game is good with Brown and Udo, especially on Saturday night, you're still missing that threat of Scadaboo and the fact that he can just get tough yardage at any point. And they really leaned on him last season and then even helped in the pass game. And I think Sam Levitt is hurting right now because of that. I still think Sam Levitt's really good. I think he has a lot of ability. But right now, this Arizona State team is one-dimensional. I do look at the Big 12 odds, and they're tied for third right now to win the Big 12. Utah, Texas Tech both have better odds, and then TCU and Arizona State are both tied at plus 650, according to Bet Online. I don't hate the fact that Arizona State is that low. I think that they could still win this conference. I think that they are that talented. I think they have to figure it out. The coaching decisions at the end of the game in the fourth quarter to blitz everybody and go zero coverage in the back to give up a wide open touchdown, an easy game winning touchdown for Mississippi State. I thought that was bad. But overall, I like their coaches, and I trust Kenny Dillingham to get this thing on the track again. So I actually don't mind Arizona State at plus 650. I think they're kind of riding under the radar now because of this loss. But this is a loss that I expected, and I think the Big 12 is kind of up for grabs, but it might just be Utah or nobody in the Big 12. I think that they could go, be the team that dominates that league. But Arizona State, still watch out for them. They still got some talent. But man, this was a game where it showed a lot of warts on Sam Levitt's game and a lot of warts, I thought, in the coaching staff. And the final thing I want to touch on in week 2 of the college football season for Vaughan The Ball is the Washington State Cougars and their 36-13 win over the San Diego State Aztecs. Shocking to me. I thought San Diego State was going to win this game outright. I thought they were better coached. I thought they had just as good as players, but Washington State came out and completely crushed this game. After getting down 7-0, they dominated the rest of the game. Now, after week 1 against Idaho, Washington State had 3 rushing yards in that game. And I thought, man, this team is just not ready physicality-wise. They don't have the run game to do anything, and I thought that would really hurt them. Well, they only averaged 3.9 yards per carry against San Diego State, but they still ran the ball 36 times, and they had 139 yards. And so I think Washington State, yes, they're never going to have the best run game in the world, but I thought on Saturday, Kirby Voorhees was tremendous. He really ran the ball hard, 13 carries, 67 yards. See a couple of the runs there. I think that he's going to be big for this team, for Washington State. They need to have some remnants of a run game. And I think Jimmy Rogers wants to run the football, so you need a guy that can do that. He is a transfer from South Dakota State, coming over with Jimmy Rogers, so the familiarity is there. I like the way Voorhees ran the ball, and Jackson Potter, 28 of 42, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's efficient with the football. He has no interceptions thrown. He's not going to make big plays down the field, but he's really just not going to make mistakes, and that's the way Washington State is going to go about this season is, you know what, we're going to play defense, we're going to run the football, we're going to pass the football, be efficient, just not turn it over, and try to win games that way, whether they're close or not, just get the W. Jimmy Rogers said that. He said, look, I don't care if we win by 1 point, a million points, it doesn't matter. He just wants to win the football game. That's the way he thinks, and Washington State got the win against San Diego State, and the big one, I thought, for the Cougs. Now they're going on the road to North Texas. I think that's a tough game. I think North Texas probably wins this one, but the Cougs, man, they put a good foot forward against San Diego State, and I thought it was a really good win for the Cougars and Jimmy Rogers. That's going to wrap up Vaughan The Ball for week 2, the wrap-up version of what I learned in the games. Coming out later this week, we'll bring the week 3 preview for then. I am Stephen Vaughn, and this is Vaughan The Ball.